My name is Jen, and I am on a journey in order to break free from the destructive patterns of disordered eating and in order to embrace a nourishing lifestyle. My roadmap can be described using an acronym of the word Nourisher. So I'm doing daily video blog posts in order to encourage you, equip you, and keep you up to date on my progress. If this content is helpful or encouraging to you, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing with others. It is my deep desire that these videos would help to ignite nourishing transformations in us all. Hi everybody, and welcome to day 21 of my Nourisher Check In. That's right, day 21. We have been at this together for 3 whole weeks, and I think that we need to kind of pause and stop and celebrate that milestone. It certainly is celebratory for me today as I look back at, having drawn that line in the sand, said, hey, I'm going to do things differently moving forward 3 weeks ago. And I've done that so many different times in my life. I don't know about you, but when I'm on the cycle of disordered eating, sometimes I can do that every day or within an hour or, weeks, or maybe I can be good for weeks or months, or even I've had a really good spell for a number of years at a time. But this felt really significant because this was the first time that I drew that line in the sand, that I had this Nourisher tool to help guide me into the healing journey, and that I invited you to come along. So we're doing great. And I hope that this has really been as nourishing a journey for you as it has been for me. It has been incredible for me. So I am super, super grateful for your involvement in my journey thus far. So let me check in about the day. It was an interesting day. Right now I'm just feeling relieved and kind of delightedly exhausted. My eye is going crazy. Please put in the comments your recommendations for how to get a sty out. The only tool in my toolbox is to put a hot tea bag on it and to rest, but it is itchy and driving me crazy. But other than that, feeling great. In terms of noticing my emotions, I mentioned relief, and one of the reasons for any of you teachers out there, you know how good it feels to finish a whole pile of marking. And I stayed up late tonight to finish a whole pile of marking, and now can hopefully sleep in peace knowing that that is off of my shoulders. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Opening up to others is a little bit of an interesting one today, because I notice, I get on every night and share all about my day and all about myself. And you probably think that I'm a very, very open and honest and always chatting about myself kind of person. But if you are someone who has known me for a long time, I wonder if these posts surprise you as much as they surprise me, because I find that I tend to be someone who asks a lot of questions of other people. And I think maybe when I was younger, I spoke more freely about myself, but now tend to be more a pursuer of other people and don't often, unless it's a really, really safe relationship, don't often put my heart out on the table to examine, so to speak. But doing these posts have been just so refreshing and wonderful for that, and your responses have been so beautiful. So thank you so much for that. But today I did share. I find that when there's this silence, I always want to fill it with a question about how's that person doing, or what are they thinking, or talk about something that I know that person is interested in. And it's very I have a really kind of like pull at my heart to just divulge some information about myself, or to say, hey, this is what I'm excited about, or this is what I'm thinking about, and that sort of thing. So I did practice doing that several times today, and at one point even said to the person that I was having lunch with today, hey, today I am officially 3 weeks binge-eating-free. And that was, I noticed some emotion come up in me when I shared that, and that seemed like a real milestone to be able to say that out loud when it wasn't asked of me or wasn't drawn out of me. So that felt good. Understanding the cycle. So I'm out for lunch today, which of course, for me, it means planning ahead. It means choosing a restaurant that I know there's going to be healthy options. It means giving myself some freedom to enjoy within that context, knowing that our healthy lifestyles need to be something that's sustainable, that you can do every day, and it's not so strict and rigid that we end up getting so fatigued that any trigger sends us right back into our disordered eating patterns. So with the cycle today, I was out for lunch, and what I noticed was at one point the person that I was having lunch with got up to leave to use the washroom, and there was this like overwhelming sense in my body, like it was hardwired into my brain. Okay, now eat something, like find something sweet to eat. And it was like it was hardwired into my brain that, hey, you're alone now. People won't see. You've been eating all of these healthy choices up until now. Right now, you can grab whatever. I mean, I don't even know what I would have been looking for, a sugar cube, or somehow I was going to quickly order a dessert and chow it down before the person came back from the bathroom. I don't know, but it was like this automatic reflex within me. And it was so good to notice it, and then to kind of let that urge come and go. I grabbed a drink of water and noticed it, kind of reflected on it in my own mind, and then just let it go. And what it got me thinking about was something by Dr. Dan Siegel, whom you may be familiar with. He is a professor of clinical psychiatry at UCLA. Brilliant stuff. I put some links below. I've read a number of his books, and he's got tons of great stuff on YouTube, etc. Highly recommend him as a wonderful resource. And he's got a couple of kind of catchphrases that are very, very helpful for me. And the one catchphrase is called neurons that fire together, wire together, meaning that all of us have unique brains because all of us have had unique experiences that end up becoming kind of hardwired into our brains. And particularly, he talks a lot about how relationships end up kind of forming who we are and forming our brains. And so what he looks at is, he says that the more you have a specific reaction or pattern or experience, the more your brain will kind of prompt that to be your reaction or experience again next time. So he gives this great example of a little girl. He gives an example of one of his books. It's actually helping to explain to a little girl who has a very violent temper that there is another way. And the way he explains it is, he says, hey, when you're starting to get, you're starting to get angry and you're starting to feel that feeling starting to come on, imagine that that's like going up a ski lift. And when you get to the top, you explode and you go down this route that it's very well groomed. There's obvious tracks for your skis because you've gone down that. That's just the way you always go. And the more that you go down that, for this particular, little girl, that explosive, I get angry and then I get very violently explosive, that the next time that you start to feel the building of those angry emotions, that's the natural path out of that experience that your brain is going to want to take again. And it's very, very difficult to stand at the top of the chairlift and to choose a different path down the mountain. Very difficult, because it's like, skiing in powder. It's more, there's more resistance if there's not already a previously made track there in the snow. But if once you get to the top of the hill, you take that more difficult new path, eventually what will happen is the new path will become the very slippery, fast, automatic path. And the old path, as it continues to snow, the old path will not be as automatic anymore, will become snow covered. And that's the same idea as what he's trying to describe in our brains, is that the more we do something, the more we have these experiences, the more natural they will become. The more we make these difficult choices to nourish ourselves rather than to succumb to the destructive binge eating or eating disordered behavior, the more natural it will become to resist those urges or to make those healthy choices, etc. So that felt like a win today when I had that urge to be able to process it and to realize that, hey, I'm creating new, neurons that fire together, wire together. I'm hardwiring my brain to make these healthy choices again in the future. Now, how did I process that craving in that moment, or that urge in that moment? So I've mentioned Chris Corsi's a number of times. Feel the pain, share the pain, quiet the pain, which is fabulous. And actually, it comes from a very, very similar phrase that Dr. Dan Siegel, who I mentioned earlier, also uses, which is called name it to tame it. And what he recommends is the first thing when there is, heightened anxiety, heightened stress, or an overwhelming feeling that comes on, is the first thing you want to do is to name it and describe it, either just in yourself or to a trusted loved one. And this actually statistically can lower the stress by up to 50% just to name it. So it's huge. So for me to be able to sit there, have this overwhelming automatic urge to quickly, in secret, eat something inappropriate, for me to be able to say, wow, I'm really tempted. I'm having a big urge right now to, in secret, eat something sweet. To be able to narrate that to myself really helped me to calm that emotion down. The other thing that's very helpful that I may have mentioned before is sometimes when things get really, really strong and big for us as an adult, sometimes it's helpful for us to imagine what that must have been like if we experienced that as a little person, and to almost say something compassionate out loud, such as, wow, this is a very big, strong urge or strong temptation that's challenging for me to deal with as an adult. That must have been really hard for me to manage when I was a kid. And that compassion, that type of compassionate statement, and really, for me, it can really penetrate into my heart and be very, very freeing. So I had this, crazy experience happen that really reminded me that cycle can take hold of me at any moment. That could have easily been the trigger that wore me down. I could have reached for something crazy and could have gotten right back into the cycle, but instead chose to do these other things, which maybe is my R, the rewiring the brain, chose to name it to tame it, and kind of self-narrate to get myself out of that. So I hope that those tips and tricks are helpful for you as they are for me. Feel free to comment if you find those things helpful, or otherwise if there's other things that you would recommend to our community as well. Insulin-friendly eating today went well. I did have, of course, what can be more challenging situations, which was eating in a restaurant. But I did have a lot of say over which restaurant we went to, so that really helped. And for supper, actually, we were out at friends' houses. But these are friends that I've been able to be open with, and they know what my nourishing goals are, and so they were able to help equip me to make great choices in that environment too. So that was no problem. Sleep, I'm just doing horribly with sleep. What I need to do is I need to find a different time to do my check-in with you. That's what I need to do. But I love to check in with you in the evening because I actually can look back and reflect on my day. But what happens is I get so tired, or I finish my schoolwork, or I put the kids to bed, sometimes often fall asleep, and then I get back up and talk to you, and then I get all excited again, and then I'm up for who knows how long. So that's what I need to do. I make no promises of when I'll be able to implement that, but I will start looking for a new time to do my check-in with you. Hydration went very well today, as did exercise. Exercise also went well. I had a wonderful walk this morning, and yeah, it was just, it's becoming really exciting to be at 3-week point and to have some of these habits that, remember at the beginning, like I was like shaking and nauseous, and the sugar withdrawal was so bad, and now for the cravings to still be present, but so much more manageable. And now I'm actually looking forward to my walks every day. and I feel, kind of a little bit lost without them. And these things are becoming much, much more natural. So, it can actually take anywhere, supposedly, these are the, I'm no professional medical scientist, but supposedly it takes anywhere from 18 days to like 254 days to actually create a habit in your life. And the average time is 66 days. So I do think that I am not in that actual habit formation time yet. I think that there's still a lot of residual, sugar cravings and addiction that is still present there. But I just really feel like I'm over the main hump, and I'm well on my way to have nourishing choices be more automatic. And I really have you to thank for that as well, for joining me on this journey. So that is my reward. That the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can have these nourishing choices be more automatic and be present emotionally, spiritually, physically with my loved ones, and with, Lord willing, future loved ones as well, as I look to the future and want to be able to be present with possible grandbabies or whoever may come into my life in my later years. Want to be able to do that in a vibrant way. So thank you for being with me these 3 weeks, and I am going to fall asleep at the computer if I don't say goodnight, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye for now.